Hey family, welcome to my channel. My name is Brittany and today's message is going to be titled 8 Signs a Huge Breakthrough is on its way to you. Okay, so I'm going to get right into it. So number 1 is going to be God removes and God reveals. So before God begins to open up these doors for you and bring you a huge breakthrough, he's first going to reveal the people around you. Now, this is for you to be able to give you the opportunity to make a choice. If you want to keep these people around and God is telling you to let them go and they can't go into the promised land, one or two things are going to happen. You're either going to take these people with you and they're not supposed to be in a place. And again, God looks at the heart and they will end up in your promised land, not supposed to be in a place with you. Or these people will delay your promise altogether. So he began to reveal and remove. And this is the place that actually hurts, okay? Because again, we tend to connect due to our emotions and things like that, but God looks at the issues of the heart. So a lot of the times, if you have relationships or friendships, any type of relationships really that are really worthy of still keeping these people around, when you have to break these connections, it's going to hurt, but oftentimes it's necessary. Number 2, you will go down before you go up. Let's think about when Joseph had the dream. It for a long time, it looked nothing like what his dream entailed. It looked nothing like the dream that God had showed him. So you may go down before you go up. Now, God can show you a promise and it can look good, but then you're going to go down before you go up. The next thing is you go into like a wilderness season to where there's nothing. And what's in the wilderness? Nothing. So again, you've already cut the people off that you need to cut off. You get into this place almost like an isolation, like you're very unsure. You don't know what's going to happen next. You're not sure what it is God wants you to do. You're just really not sure about a lot of things. And this is the place, when you get in this place, this is the place where you incorporate a lot of prayer so that God can guide you through your path. God can order your steps. The next thing is you're going to be tested, okay? You're going to be tested based on and you have to be obedient. So we know that the enemy tested Job. The enemy was allowed to do everything but kill Job. So Job went through a lot of things. So we also will be tested. And a lot of the times it's during the testing when people actually want to give up. And it's like, this just part of it. The next thing is there may be some delay. The hardship may last longer than you expected. So maybe you were only expecting to go through this for a couple of months, but it's being dragged out and you like, dang, God, like, why am I being done like this? Like, I expect to go through some sort of hardship, but I did not expect it to last so long. But let's just think about Joseph. Joseph wanted the cupbearer to come back and go and tell the king about him, but it was still another couple of years before he was even mentioned. Okay, so that's just, sometimes there's a delay, and that's part of it. That's how you know you're in it. Now you are being tested. There is a delay, so you're experiencing maybe a long line of tests and then there's a delay. People will witness your failures. A lot of the times this is God setting the table. People will witness you go through things. Again, the way it was with Job. Job's friends was like, what's wrong? Like, are you cursed? Like, if you love God, why are you going through this and that and the other? But God was really setting the stage. That's what they didn't understand till the end. They didn't understand till it was time for the promise that God was actually setting the stage. Okay. The next thing is you will begin to forgive people that hurt you. Like, you just want to be in a totally different space. People that you probably even thought that you would never forgive. Like, nah, I ain't never talking to them again. That's just it. I'm not forgiving them. They did too much. And then you just begin to let it go. Because now you want to be in a whole new headspace. That is really setting the atmosphere to your breakthrough. You begin, because again, and then when you think about with Job, right when Job forgave his friends, that's when Job became blessed. Immediately after that, the very next line is when Job actually became blessed, because he had to forgive all these people that sat around laughing at him as he went through these tests and went through this season of isolation. Okay. And then the next thing is you begin to develop a testimony and develop character. So now you just feel like, okay, I done been through that. Maybe God will place you in the right place to where somebody else is going through something. You might have to help them get through it. Like, girl, I just went through that. And that happens a lot. Like, God will put you on a path to where, let's see if my child will help my other child get through this same thing. So you begin to develop a testimony, and you begin to realize that this is going to be a testimony. Like, this is something that I'm going to be able, I know I'm going to get through it. I'm just going to be able to talk about it. It's just part of my testimony. If you are a person that even talks like that, like, hey, this is just going to be a part of my testimony later, you are in the position to be blessed. You are in the position of huge breakthrough. Okay. And this also builds character. And then another thing, number 9 that I want to add is, a lot of the times before God delivers you a huge breakthrough, there's silence. There's not going to be anything. You're not really going to be hearing from God, because now you have to use your faith. Now you have to be trusting in what God has already instilled in you. So now there's nothing, right? Because that means it's here. It's directly making its way to you. So now there's a silence. There's nothing. There's nothing else to talk about. God already said he was going to do it. He put you in a position so you can receive it. You're in the mental space to where you can receive it. And now it is coming to you. That's pretty much how it is, y'all. So I drew this map. It ain't the prettiest, but y'all get the point. Can you see it? Y'all get the point. It ain't the prettiest, but we're going to go with it. So typically, when God wants to bless us, this is us right here. When we want things that are simple, typically we just walk over there and get our stuff, right? So if you pray for a car, God give you a car. You pray for a house, God give you a house. You pray for money for another day, you God give us some money. And typically we just walk over there to get our stuff. Now, when you think about Joseph, okay, his path look a little squiggly, okay? When God wants you to be king or queen, you down here in the squigglies, okay? Now you not walking straight over here, because we need to build that character, and we need to develop that testimony, and we don't get it just by walking straight to our stuff. So Joseph had a dream, okay? He began to tell his dream to his brothers, right? Before he even could envision what it is God can do. So what it was is, when he told his dreams and his visions, a lot of the times when you get to talking to people around you, they know you capable of it. A lot of the times before you even know you capable of it, people around you know that you're capable of it. And people that don't have a good heart, they immediately try to destroy the dream. So his own brothers tried to get rid of him because of a dream that he had, that they knew that he was capable of. They knew that was God placing that dream on the inside of him. So you got to be careful who you tell your dreams to, okay? Then the next thing, he was envied by his own brothers. Then the next thing is, he was written off, okay? They tried to sell him into slavery. First, they tried to throw him in the ditch and leave him. But again, when your enemies dig a ditch for you, they fall in it. They kind of felt bad about his brother Reuben. Was like, nah, we can't off him, so we just gonna sell him into slavery. Okay, so then he goes and he's enslaved, okay? But he has a good position because of God, because of who God is. Everything the enemy plans for us works out for our good. So he got a good position, okay, in slavery, okay? But one of the things too is, as he's enslaved, he has access. He can see. He's in the line of sight with his promise, with the king, okay? He's right next to the king. Even though it's not his season yet, it's still in his vision. It's still in his view that he can see the promised land, okay? As he's being enslaved. Then he got lied on, okay? Then he goes down here and he goes from being enslaved to prison, okay? So now he in prison. This is not the plan that Joseph had in mind. Joseph had a dream. Now it looks like everything but the dream. If that ain't life, I don't know what is, okay? So then there's a delay, okay? Because he tell the cupbearer and the baker, he tell the cupbearer, when y'all go to the king, let him know about me. That didn't happen in his timing. It was still 2 years before they mentioned him, okay? God gave the king the dream 2 years later, because that was God's timing. Okay, that's what this was. So he sat in jail for another couple of years, forgotten about. So a lot of the times when God want to take you to a place, you might be forgotten about, you might be envy, people might begin to write you off, there's delay, there's all of these things, right? Suddenly your path look like this when it used to look like this, okay? So chosen ones, this is our path. It's squiggly, okay? We're gonna go through things, okay? The first thing is the people begin to fall off. The people that don't need to be there, they just begin to fall off. Sometimes it hurt, but it's necessary and it needs to be done. The next thing is you might go to a low point. You might fall into a pit. But again, God will come get you up out of the pit, because the enemy can do everything to you, but the enemy cannot take you out. So God come get you out the pit, and you like, oh, okay. You know, I'm still not on a straight line though, because this is what breeds character. This is what breeds your breakthrough, okay? This is what leads to your testimony. It's always going to be something before you king and queen where God wants you to be, okay? The next thing is there's going to be some delay. Just like with Joseph, there was some delay. It could be 1 year, it could be 6 months, it could be 2 years. Whatever the delay is, as long as you're being obedient, doing what it, being led by God and doing what it is that God has called you to do, the delay will last shorter. If you're in disobedience, you can be in the delay for a couple of years. It just depends on how obedient are you being at the delay. Okay, then there's some hurdles, there's some obstacles, some tests. The obstacles represent the tests. We have to go through the testing, because that's what breeds the testimony. No great person has not a testimony. Even the person that invented the world greatest thing have some sort of testimony. I was watching a video the other day. The man that made the boy that made Rolls Royce, he made it as a little boy in debt. He came up with the idea as a little boy in debt. His family had lost everything, and that's truly a rags to riches story. One of the most expensive cars today in the world. The idea was created by somebody whose family had lost everything, and that little boy was in debt. Came up with the idea. I was watching that video today. So anyway, the hurdles represents the test, okay? So what happens is, a lot of people, because you see right here, this little building, that's the promised land, okay? So what happens is, after we done been through all this delay test, we done lost all the people, we in the pit, people laughing at us, mocking us, you know, we going through all these things in front of everybody. It looks like humiliation, but God is really just setting the stage. We get right here to the promise, and we tired. By this point, this is where a lot of people don't make it, because they've already went through all of this, and all of us mentally can't handle all of this. Most of us can, but there's some people that's like, ain't no way, over and over and over and over. I have to endure failure. I have to endure people laughing at me and delay. I have to endure these tests, and I'm doing good, but I'm not reaping good. This is the season where it's just so, it's kind of up in the air. You don't know what's going to happen next. You feel like one thing on the heel of another, but it feels like one test on the heel of another. It's like after I went through that, when you feel like, okay, I'm pretty much tired of going through stuff. I'm tired right here, okay? But what's right here? This is the promise. This is where you are when you say, Lord, I can't take another thing. This is another thing right here. This is where you at, okay? And this is where you get tired, but you right at the promised land. A lot of times you be ready to give up, but you right at the promised land. It's right here. So this is why you got to understand your path, the path for the chosen one, the path that Joseph had to take, and the path that's easy. This is the path that everybody gets. You pray, you can get a blessing. You pray, you can get a breakthrough. But if you want a huge breakthrough and you want to be king and queen as God sees you to be, this is your path now. This is your path now. And I hope y'all can see that. That's your path now. Chosen ones, this is your path now. This is what it looked like. Okay? So, that's the message, y'all. 8 signs a huge breakthrough is on its way to you. Just as I have mentioned. 1, God reveals and removes. 2, you go down before you go up. A lot of the times God will give you a dream, and then everything in life looks like everything but the dream. And then you go up. The next thing is you're going to go into the wilderness, where you have to spend that time with God so that God can order your steps. Then you're going to be tested, because the testing breeds the testimony. And you're just going to be tested because God wants to see our faithfulness and our obedience. And God wants to see that we have enough faith to persevere even during the test. Okay? The bigger the test, the bigger the breakthrough. So that was number 4, was the testing. Number 5 is delay. Okay, your hardship lasts longer than expected. So typically you expected this hardship to be over, but now not only are you dealing with hardship, but you're dealing with delay, you're dealing with tests, and this is lasting a little bit longer than you expected it to last. That's because God is setting the table for you to get that breakthrough. God is setting the pace for you to get a huge breakthrough. Okay. You begin to forgive people that hurt you. People that you never thought you was going to forgive, you begin to just forgive them in your heart. Because as you get closer to God, you realize you need to have a clean heart, a clean head space, a clear mind, and a peace of mind for where you're going. Okay, you've already been through enough, so you need a clear mind for where you're going. And then you develop the testimony, you develop your character, okay? The character that it takes to be king or queen. You have to have been through something. And then there's the silence. That's the 9th thing. That's the thing that I didn't mention. Then there's the silence. There's nothing going to happen. There's nothing happening. God already said what he said. Okay. It doesn't look like your breakthrough quite yet. There's nothing you can do. Prayer is already here. That breakthrough is already making its way to you. That's why there's a silence. There's nothing else to say. So everything around you will be silent. This is the most unsure phase of your life, because you don't know what's going to happen next. You're kind of just like, I hope I'm just following God in this season. I hope I'm doing the right thing. I hope I'm doing what it is that he asked me to do, because there's a silence. And it's meant to be that way, because again, this is how you know the breakthrough is making its way to you. So you guys, those were 9 signs that a huge breakthrough is coming your way. And this video, by you watching this video, is another huge sign. So that would make 10 signs that a huge breakthrough is on its way to you. So that's the message, y'all. 10 signs that a huge breakthrough is on its way to you. And until the next video, y'all, bye for now.